A few weeks ago, Ancient Cities was released and a massive Kickstarter was funded for it. Now this is a new game. Not set in the Neolithic era, but more the prehistoric era. Focusing still around the caveman type city building aspects though. Welcome to the rise of man. Now I was very unsure about making this video because I had made 2 Ancient Cities ones before and that seemed to be the game that everyone was looking forward to. No one'd really heard of this game before. So I kind of left it off for a while, but the developers kept contacting me over and over again, asking me and giving more information about this, so I decided that I'd bring it to you guys. Me personally, I'm not going to give too many of my opinions in this video because I'm not completely sure if this is going to be living up to what we're expecting with games such as Ancient Cities, because the hype has been built up around that game in itself. But I'm going to be bringing you the information so you can make your own decisions in the comments below what you think of this game. So let me tell you a little bit about Rise of Man. This is a single player game, starting with small tribe players, and you'll need to harvest resources from the surrounding area to build your camp. Now this is very generic city builder type thing, starting from scratch and building up from there. Starting from the very bottom of the pile is a good way to make players create their own storyline throughout games, not only starting them with all resources, because that kind of puts you at an end game which no one really likes. The most successful games such as Minecraft have kept people from the very beginning and building up throughout the ages, and this is what they're trying to do in Rise of Man. You begin with only one ability, and that is to make fire. From there you'll need to research different technologies which will allow you to progress and expand throughout the world. I guess this will be introducing new skills that your tribesmen can learn in order to get new equipment. It does say that the aim will to be eventually progress into the early medieval period, which does definitely interested me a lot since I love these medieval games. From there, research advances and buildings will allow players to do different things, from providing safe places to sleep at night to avoiding wolves and bears. So not only are we going to have these natural risks here of your guys starving, needing food and shelter, and of course learning new technologies to thrive and live, but also there's going to be these natural things like wolves and bears that can take over your town or your tribes at any point, and you need to be able to defend yourselves from them. You'll also be allowing the construction of early weapons in order to hunt rabbit and deer. So we're also going to have passive wildlife here that you're going to be able to hunt and gain more resources for your tribes. The initial start is difficult, as only man moved from just foraging for food and farming, but once the players discover farming and the ability to plant their own crops, they'll find it a lot easier to grow their tribe. So definitely food is really important, and what this is kind of showing us is the mechanic where the more food you have, the more people you'll be able to support. And I like this. Each tribe member has hunger and energy attributes that will allow them to complete certain given tasks in the day. So they are trying to create some individuality with each of the people, and it's not just one solid group of tribes. I guess with bigger city builders that is harder since of the larger scale, but with these smaller tribes based ones you're going to be able to have more focus in each of the individual people and their attributes and things like that. The developers talk about everything you do has a risk and reward. Once unlocked, you may choose to go and try and hunt deer. The payoff if you succeed will be great, providing food for the entire tribe for a few days. Although if you fail, they will have expanded a lot of energy for nothing. So there's a lot of risk-reward type gameplay in Rise of Man, which can be interesting in some aspects and can be used very well to create a good gameplay mechanic for the players, but also if not done very well, this can be an issue for a lot of players, since you're putting more risk into it than actually reward you get back. So that is a hard balance to get, but hopefully they can sort that out. Now, something really interesting that struck me is that the game does have a day-night cycle, but the player can choose when to end a day. That's a really weird mechanic. I'm not sure how that's going to play out, but it's also very interesting because it does add a new game mechanic in there, where this can have its risk and rewards, like I mentioned before. The consequences are, if you leave an animal carcass out on the butchering stone, you might find a bear or wolf comes into the camp and takes your hard-earned supplies. So you're sort of baiting them in if you forget to clean up afterwards if you choose to go to sleep at night. And also, if you have people sleeping on the ground without shelter, the wolves may come and slaughter your people. So you have to be very careful here. Do you want to skip the night into the day? And you can choose when it's night and day, but you will also have to make sure you do that at the right points, not to cause disadvantages to your tribes. Now I'm going to have to compare this to Ancient Cities, since this is the most relevant Caveman sort of game at this very moment. From the gameplay and things, it doesn't quite look as fully fledged. Now I don't know if this is the funding behind it. Of course, Ancient Cities has a lot more funding. They reached their $100,000 goal, and they've also got an additional about 30,000 more from extra funding. So they obviously have the money behind it, and this Rise of Man game unfortunately doesn't quite have that. There will be a link to the Kickstarter down below if you want to go and check that out, but I definitely recommend you doing some more research yourself on this game, since I'm not completely sure about it myself. The animations and graphics aren't quite as crisp as Ancient Cities, but like I said, I'm sure this is just a time thing. From the developer emailing me, it did seem like this was a one-man job, and he's been doing this himself, which, if he has, this is extremely impressive. Now, like I said, I don't have too much of an opinion on this game so far. This is because we've just got the hype down from Ancient Cities, and that game is underway, and everyone's kind of looking at that. So bringing this forward, Rise of Man, at the same time, is probably not going to do as well as Ancient Cities, since we've seen a lot more of that game and people have been more hyped about it. And if you bring a new game in of the same genre that isn't quite as fully fledged or doesn't expand on it at the same rate, you might have some issues there. But I wish the developer the best of luck, and if you guys want to see more information on this, I'll definitely bring it to you in the future once I know about it. But I thought I'd just bring this game to your attention if you wanted to see more of these sort of city builders, especially in the earlier Man period. It seems these days that we've had a lot of game genres that have never existed in the past, and then all of a sudden one comes along and then a whole fleet of them come along. That's a very interesting thing that's really happened in the past few months and years, but I'm quite happy since the historical genre has really been boosted in the past few months, and it's definitely bringing more people in. But what do you think about this game? Do you think this is just another cash-in of a city builder, or do you think this has some real potential? Obviously, there's going to be a fight between this and Ancient Cities, but I'd love to see your replies in the comments down below. But until then, I will see you in the next one.